All right, you grasshoppers. It is a Thursday morning. I know we're past 10 o'clock. We were actually doing a full change podcast. We had, remember Jigs McDonald? Anybody remember him? He was doing a podcast with us. So I'm very excited. He's one of my all-time favorite people. We really don't know him that well. It's just his voice. I guess all the great games that they had with the Islanders and his distinctive voice and everything too. So that's why we were late getting on the show. Much apologized. Much apologized. No, did you say much apologized? My apologies for being late. We don't like to be late. We like to be on time, right? Say we're going to do it at 10 o'clock, we do it at 10 o'clock. So again, that was Jigs McDonald that we were doing our show with. So how's everybody doing out here Thursday morning? Trying to think what's exciting going on out there. Rangers won 10 of 11 or whatever, 11 or 12, I guess they won. Susan will correct me, I'm sure. We're going to show again. Ron Jameson, how are you doing there, brother? Pop on here. Come on, you and I were going back and forth last night. Just keeping in touch. What's this exciting? What's going on? We did a lot of podcasts this week. So we did Jigs McDonald today. We did Tom Chorsky, remember him? Kevin Miller, Kelly Miller's brother. And we did somebody else. I can't remember who it was. Oh, remember Graham Townsend? You guys remember Graham Townsend? Didn't play that long, but really interesting guy. Really fascinating podcast for him. What really tells you guy what the RPI. Again, didn't play long, but his story is really interesting. Lost his father, left him when he was young, and how his grades kind of dipped and everything. It ended up being kind of I don't know if it's a good thing for him, but he really had to be the man of the house. So he had to be mature and everything. So, really interesting podcast. So, I want to try to get some really different guys, really diverse group of people for our podcast. Full Change Podcast. Again, you can listen to that on all podcast platforms. Please like, share, and comment, particularly on Apple. That's the best place for us, selfishly, to do that. Yesterday, we did a fun podcast. Our friend Deb Anderson out in Nebraska, right? Omaha? Yeah, Omaha, Nebraska, yes. There's a thing called First Responders. They got a charity game March 24th in Omaha. And there's firstresponders.com is their website. First Responders Foundation is their website if you want to go donate money. But so it's all for first responders, which includes military veterans and their families, any mental health issues, any way they can help out at all. So it's a great fundraiser, great opportunity. So had we had two firefighters and a police officer on. And it's pretty good. They're going back and forth, giving each other a hard time. We get the one guy, Derek Pennington, I think his name is. Just finished battling cancer as a firefighter, and he's funny too because he's saying he's going to wear, so he can't play in the game, and he's going to coach. And he's got this plaid suit, so we're giving a hard time about that. So we're going to try to get some pictures of him with the plaid suit on too. So I kind of mind he's got that attitude, especially after battling cancer. He's got, what do I get? I don't care what people think. If I want to wear a plaid suit, I'm going to wear a plaid suit. So cool guy. And obviously that's a tender spot in my heart. Is that what I say? That tender spot? Yeah, because my father was a firefighter too. So. And the police officers are good guys, and it's interesting too. They're all volunteering their time to help other kids and coaching and everything. So good group of guys. So again, March 24th in Omaha, Nebraska. A fun game. The firefighters are playing the police officers. We're talking about how the New York police officers and firefighters have a game too. I guess I haven't been to it, but I can say it's quite the brawls all the time. Although I think they've been told to tone it down a little bit, so there hasn't been as many. They used to, is it still at Madison Square Garden? I know it moved. I think it still is. I think it was there and then left and then came back. So and those groups, those are all type A personalities usually with those guys. So very competitive. There's our boy Barry Shelley, magical creature. Lorraine, how are you doing today, everybody? Yes, I apologize, Susan, for being late. So again, we did a podcast, a full change podcast with Jigs McDonald today. So it ran, he was telling stories and I was just grinning from ear to ear because he just got that distinctive voice like that, like Sam Rosen, Kenny Albert, those kind of guys, and great person too. So it was great to do a show with him. He told, again, we're probably going to do another one. Well, not probably. We are going to do another show with him because we went for about an hour and he was telling stories the whole time. So he's one of those guys you could listen to him tell stories forever. I forgot that he started off in LA when they first started the franchise there in '67. Then in '72 went to Atlanta, and then I thought he was with the Islanders longer, but he wasn't with the Islanders until my first year in the league. They'd already won the first cup, so he started in '80, '81, and You obviously can't see it when you listen to the podcast, but he'd fallen down, so he had two big black eyes, and it just looked like an old hockey player. But great guy, great to have him on. Dougie DeVito, how are you doing there, you magical human being? Hope you're doing well. Rangers won last night. So Rempe did not fight again last night, did he? When I understand, Susan will tell me, but I'm pretty sure he did not. He's got quite the black eyes. He's got quite the black eye too. But he's the kind of kid though. He looks like he likes having the black eye. Pretty funny. I love watching, listening to him get interviewed. Like when he had that fight with the guy in Philly, he's telling him, he's going, "We were throwing bombs. We were throwing bombs." That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So we haven't done a show. Oh, that's right. We haven't done this show since last weekend. I was up in Vestal, New York. So Jen O'Brien runs the ASHA, American Special Hockey Association, for kids with special needs. Thanks, Susan. He did not get a fight. Thank you. So Jen O'Brien runs this American Special Hockey Association. So they have a tournament up there every weekend, just outside of Binghamton. So in Vestal, New York, again, it's just outside of Binghamton. This family, the Pierce family, Larry Pierce, the husband and father, had played college hockey at Cornell, very successful in the demolition business, I think it is. So they big hockey family, obviously. And so in their farm, I don't know how many acres it is, but they built I think it's a full-size outdoor rink, chillers and the whole bit, Zamboni, fantastic setting. You're on the rink and you look out, mountains in the background. And then this past year, they then built I guess you call it kind of almost a cabin with a balcony and a whole bit, with bathrooms. People can change. The teams can get dressed there and a whole bit, and it's warm upstairs. They serve food, so it's an incredible setting. You can sit there all day long. You're watching the kids hockey, and the kids, with the special needs, they're fantastic, right? In fact, they just tell you the truth. It's good or bad. That's just the way it is. There's no game plan with those people. It's just that is it. The one boy, he was working the score clock, and asked him, I said, "You want a hot chocolate?" And he was one of the special needs kids. Funny, man. He's really into it a little bit. So I went up and got him a hot chocolate. And then I went to say goodbye to him when I was leaving. And he says to me, he's great the way he said it. He says, "Okay, you give me another hot chocolate first, and then you can leave." And, when he says it like that, you're going to do it. That's it. So that was the event itself. Again, Jen O'Brien with the American Special Hockey Association and the Pierce family. The things they do, they've got a wagon with the tractor hooked up into it. And there's another building down below where the teams can get dressed, and then they put them on the wagon with the tractor pulling and pick them up the hill to the rink. So it's like it's a special thing for the kids. How often have they get a chance to be on I think it's converted hay wagon, but it's this family. The Pierce family is incredible. There's a river running by it with a big ravine, and they built a covered bridge to go over it. And again, they do a lot of stuff. They refurbish products from the buildings that they tear down. So a lot of the beams and everything are like old, dated like old beams from California and stuff. So it's beautiful. I posted pictures of it, and they just like when they do something. So when I was there last year, a team from Cambridge, Ontario showed up in the bus, and Larry Pierce, the owner there, got all excited like a little kid. He says, "I'm so he's got that now. He drives he coaches a high school team, so he puts them all in the bus and drives them around. So pretty cool. He now wants to put a roof over the rink, and he's got it all designed. There's where the rink is. There's a big hill on one side. And he's designed it so it'll be so you take the roof off. What is that called? So he wants it to go so it goes down the hill, so you really can't see the roof when it's off, and then it comes up out of the hill. And so pretty cool to have solar panels on. And he'll get it done. He's already had an engineer out there looking at it. So let me see here. Question of the day: does a fish smell from the head or the tail? Well, yeah. In addition to that, if nobody's there to smell it, does it still smell? Right? Like if a tree falls down and nobody's there, does it still make a noise? It's really interesting. Does it have to be somebody there to smell it or to hear it for it to really have a smell or to make a noise? Or if nobody's there, where does the noise go to, or where does the smell go to? Valid question, Doug. You are on fire today. How far off your diet did you go? Yeah, there's some issues there. Yeah, there's a couple of cheeseburgers had. And had a bacon, egg, and cheese on Sunday morning too. Yeah, but when I got back to the hotel, I ordered Uber Eats. I ordered sushi, so we stayed healthy there. Just because that's one of those. There's a lot of fried food up there and everything. But they also had some good stuff. They had chicken noodle soup at the rink, chili, all that kind of stuff. They usually have like the donuts. There was one year I was up there. I don't know if maybe because me saying something, but for Sunday brunch, they had donuts and pizza. So, and actually, Jen's a fantastic person too. And she looked at me, she says, "You're not going to eat this stuff, are you?" And I said, "Yeah, that's not happening, no." But fantastic people up there. And again, the Pierce family does not charge anybody to go use the rink. It's all just they donate their time. And again, they get the Zamboni going. Yeah. So it's, and the whole family works at, even they get the high school team out there too working, and they change the garbage bags and everything. So they're really smart. Like Larry's really into the motivation speaking. Him and I really got on well. He, had the Cornell hockey team come there, and they also have the shovels on the ice, so they don't always Zamboni it because the sun's beating on it. It takes too long to dry. So he had them there's a record time. I think it was 8 minutes to clean the ice off with the shovels. So he had the team do it, and they didn't do it at first because they weren't working together, and it was a great lesson for them to work together. And then they did it like in a minute or something, because they're all fired up and they were flying around the rink getting it done. So he's a good person. The whole family's a fantastic family. So his wife as well. I can't remember her first name, his wife, but she's a great person too. My son-in-law does that for a living, installing solar panels. Oh, wow, very cool. Very cool. Good to see you, William, our veteran. Good to see you again. Thank you very much for your service. Again, you and Barry Shelley, Ron Jameson. We'll get some other guys too. Very cool stuff. Yeah, it's again, I posted, if you want to go to my Facebook page and look at the pictures I posted, it's beautiful, man. Like, and we've had some great weather. This is my 4th year going up there, and some great weather. Cold, but the only problem is that when the sun beats on, they get the yellow dasher in the bottom of the boards. So when the sun beats on that, it melts the ice right there because it heats up. So they'll figure out a way to do it. They have these solar blankets they put over top of the ice there, that spot, and they put cones there so nobody gets hurt or anything. So what a reaction MCG Rampy has shown on the screen. Even the commissioner came last night to watch. That's cool. Yeah, the kid's got to take everybody by storm, right? Like I think it is like he's fighting. He's big. He's got that personality too, where he's just like that big. And I mean, it's a comment too, like that big goofy kid. Like, yeah, let's go. We're throwing bombs. It's all good. Let me see here. When the Warriors went up a couple weeks ago, they fed us steak and chicken and all kinds of salads. Oh, wow. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, they go all out. The Pierce family and Jen O'Brien too. It's a first class event. The kids come from, like I said, all over the place. There's 31 teams, I think they said they had there. And the coaches are great too. And I was really surprised. There's some coaches that have kids that are on the teams, but there's a lot of coaches there that just are volunteering. It's a great cause. It's one of those things that when you go to these events, you're there to help other people, but you leave, man, you get so much out of it. You feel like you're kind of selfish almost. You're getting so much out of it because these kids are just like, they teach you that, listen, these other little problems that we think we have, they're just irrelevant. Just live life. Go all out. They go all out. They're having a ball. They're laughing and joking around. And yeah. Tom, do you think the NHL franchise would work in Houston? That's a great question. Actually, we just did a podcast. Put this up here. Wait, I'm sorry. We just did a podcast with Graham Townsend, and he had played in the IHL in Houston. And he was talking about how they're like, for an IHL team, they were getting 15,000 people per game. His picture was up on posters around the city and stuff. I think it'd work. I had spoken to many years ago. I'd spoken to the people that were running, that own the building there, and the basketball team. They felt it didn't, because it had a lower level minor league team there. And it really didn't work. It's like an East Coast League team, I think it was. But man, I went to LA when people thought, hockey wouldn't work in LA. And it sure did. You had to get Wayne Gretzky there. You had to promote the game. Look at Vegas. Look at Seattle now. So I think the NHL work, that they're proving it works anywhere. It's tougher in a place like Quebec City. There's as much corporate sponsorship there, not as many big companies. But yeah, it'll work. I mean, just again, how many people thought years ago it would work in Vegas? Not just does it work, but that's a fantastic franchise. Obviously, they won the cup, but the following they have there. So yes, I do think it works. Olivier jumps to Rippy on Sunday, and yeah, he was in that epic. But isn't Rippy tired or sore? No, not his age. No, you get into a fight too, especially early in your career. The adrenaline's pumping so much that that would be an issue. Listen, here's the thing: if you're going to fight, you're going to lose. Sometimes every fighter that's ever fought in the National Hockey League has lost fights. Bob Probert, Joe Kocur, Clark Gillies, Ben Wilson, Larry Playfair. It's just part of the game. You're going to fight. You're not going to win them all. So if he lost that fight, and in some ways, you know what? It kind of builds the whole aura around him. Yeah, like he's coming back. He's not playing any differently. He's not trying to hide the black eye. I remember we played. Well, it was a year after I retired. Marty Sorley fought Wendell Clark in Toronto. Marty had run Doug Gilmore, and Wendell Clark was a pretty tough guy. He and Marty was too. Didn't necessarily lose the fight, but Wendell hit him in a good punch and gave him a bloody eye. But Marty made sure he kept ice on that thing, so it was you couldn't see it too bad. But that just happens. No, I didn't bring my skates. No, they really. I spend more time going around like talking, being on the bench, talking to the coaches and fans, their parents and stuff. So it's. I know it's hard to believe that I do a lot of time talking, but that is facts. I read something in Wisby having trouble with attendance. I didn't know that. Well, they got a pretty good team too. I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought it was a good place. Since you look back in the playoffs, remember they had the big screen outside. People watching the game outside as well. The building's full. But you never know. I mean, it's expenses too. Winnipeg's not exactly like New York City or somewhere. So someone that's wealth. But good morning, Ken R. You're a pirate. Ken R. You see here, Richard Lewis. He and Larry David on Curb were magical. Richard Lewis. I'm sorry, Susan. I don't know who Richard Lewis is. It's just, but again, that is sad that he lost his son. Yeah. No, well, your hands could get sore, yeah. But again, you get in. You're talking about Rempe getting in fights. His hands may get sore, but again, you get in a fight, your adrenaline just clicks like that. And even if you have sore hands, sore whatever, it doesn't bother. Now it may bother after the fact, but not while the fight's happening. That's all adrenaline. Yes, you would. Let's see here, here and there, yeah. It is all adrenaline, yeah. But it's funny looking at the YouTube videos now, fights that I was in, and I had no clue what was going on until you watch the video. You can't remember it. Now, other guys are different. The guys that fought more, maybe like I listen to Darren Langdon talk, he's more strategic and a whole bit. But for a guy like me, it's just now you're going to be in front of 18,000 people. It's not the fear of getting hurt. It's like you're in front of 18,000 people. It's just you and another guy. All your team's watching, all the other team's watching. It's more like if you lose the fight, it's embarrassing. I remember I got in a fight with right Center Ice Mayor Square Garden. I can't remember his name. And I started the fight because we were trying to get things going. And I did legitimately trip on a skate, but still I lost. He still gave it to me. I remember skating to the bench. I was like, oh God, you're all by yourself skating to the bench, to the penalty box. And I remember I saw the video recently too. Don Maloney came over, pat me in the back, kind of like, yeah, nice job, Tom. Screwed up. But like I said, it happens. You look at old videos of Bob Probert just standing there throwing bombs, and once in a while he got hit and knocked out. So, yes, he is quite the legend, though, Rempe. Now, but again, I think I said I love his attitude too. He's getting interviewed. Yeah, we're throwing bombs. What else is going on in the world? Exciting here, not just hockey. I think isn't the NFL Combine coming on to NFL Combine where the kids are all going for meetings and get tested? The one kid, like the top draft pick, I listened to Boomer Esiason talking, isn't going to go through the whole physical testing part. He'll get the interviews done. If you're really that good of a player, and you're far above everybody else. Yeah, why bother go doing it? I've already showed what I can do as a player. I don't need to show it again. The primaries are on. Yeah, didn't Donald Trump get banned from another state recently? Some judge banned him from the state. I saw a video of a Navy SEAL talking about that too, and he said the last time that happened was it George Washington? I can't remember. It was Civil War after that. That once these states started to ban presidents from. That's a scary thing. Like some judge in another state, Illinois. Thank you, Curtis Smith, Illinois. Yeah, some judge in another state's going to, affect who the president is in the United States. But what am I feeling on that? My feeling, in case people don't know, is he's not the Bears. Yeah, but they're trading Fields. Isn't that the rumor that the Bears are going to trade Fields? I liked him as a player too. I thought he was pretty good. Can't do business in the state of New York for 3 years. Wow. And then doesn't he have like a $432 million fine or something too? Actually, Deb, thank you very much. I did bake sourdough on when was it? Is it on the weekend? What is it? Thursday? Maybe Tuesday night. I made it. Oh, I'm getting it down too. So you gotta get the sourdough starter. You got to get it fermented properly. So you're not going to use it for a long time. You put it in the fridge. You don't have to feed it all the time. So this whole process with the starter. Then, but you want to get it out, you got to feed it, and then let it sit for at least a day, so it ferments. It gets all bubbly and it rises up. I put a little yeast in mine too. I think that's cheating a little bit, but so the process of it fermenting, it means you shouldn't have to use yeast. I haven't perfected that yet, because you got to get it to rise, got to get it to proof. It's not rising; it's called proofing. And then, so you let it ferment, and it's all about timing too. So it'll rise, like it'll double in size, the starter will, and then you've got to let it come down just a little bit, and it'll still be nice and bubbly. It's fermenting, and then you mix that with water, and then I use bread flour, unbleached bread flour is the best, and the water needs to be like around 100 degrees temperature. So all those things, apparently, from what I'm learning, really affect how it proofs and how like you get that sourdough kind of texture to it. And some people like the sourdough bread. So you're supposed to cook it in a Dutch oven. I don't have a form. Like I think what I researched, a Dutch oven really is just a pot with a lid, tight lid on it. So I've got a pot with a tight. It's not ceramic, which a lot of people use, but it seems to come out fine. And then some people will put a little water. So you get parchment paper, put it in the pot. I get ice cubes, put them in the bottom of the pot, and that the steam comes up, and that's how it gets crispier on the outside, supposedly. And then so you cook it. I cook mine 425 degrees for 30 minutes with the lid on. Then you take the lid off. You do another 30 minutes at 425 degrees, and you get, again, you can make it as crispy as you want to, as dark as you want to. I don't make it too dark. And then, because you make it a fair bit, so I don't eat it at all. I don't want to let it go bad, so I put half of it in the freezer. Once it cools, and then the big trick is, once you take it out of the freezer, you run it under the tap. You soak it. You're basically hydrating it again. And then I put mine in the air fryer. You put it in just regular oven, and it comes out like fresh, totally fresh. Actually, so I don't make mine too dark when I first bake it. So then when I put it in the air fryer, after it's been frozen, it gets a little darker and crispy on the outside, but very tasty. Oh, yeah. Sourdough bread. That's where it's at. Morning, Bubba. Is Bubba on the show? I think he had his surgery already, too. Hope he's doing well. Big Bubba. Big bodybuilding Barry Beck. I used to call him that when we played. There's some other words we use, too, but we'll clean up a little bit. Big bodybuilding. I think I call him Bohemian. Bodybuilding Bohemian Barry Beck from Boston. It's not from Boston, but B sounded there. Yes. I'm a conductor on the CN in Chicago for 27 years, and last night I witnessed two Canadian supervisors get in heated argument over Canadian politics. Oh, God, I know. My family used to do that too, talking about politics, Canadian politics. Oh, no point. No point. Oh, I know the sourdough bread, right? Oh, yes. So you guys use when it's warm, you put butter on it. It's not healthy, the butter and all that kind of stuff. But what else I use too is I make a little bowl of avocado oil and balsamic vinegar and mix that up and dip the bread in there. Oh, my Lord. Oh, fresh sourdough bread still. Supposedly you're not supposed to cut open right away. You got to let it cool down a little bit. I don't know what that purpose of that is. I let it cool a little bit. But any rumors of possible moves from the Rangers? So names, I don't know any names necessarily. There appears to be the need is for a first line right winger to play with Mika and Chris Kreider. And then I think it's a third line centerman is what people are saying. And obviously some depth of defense too. So K'Andre Miller, he's playing, correct? But he's not playing well, people are saying. But yeah, see, to me, I would not change the team. Again, knowing that Shesterkin's playing as well as he is, and even if he's not, Jonathan Quick the year he's had. So I mentioned those guys because that's a big part of it, right? If you're going to go have a good team, you've got to have. It's really tough to win in the playoffs without good goaltending. So that seems to be nailed down now for the Rangers. They've got a ton of skill. Do they need a little bit more? Maybe. But it's that depth, right? Because you're always going to have injuries. It's a grind. Again, what the Rangers want to try to stay away from is having those 7-game series. Try to win earlier than the 7 games. That really hurt them like 2 years ago when they had the long series all the time. It wears you down after a while. Again, they grind. And it's much more physical hockey. The pace is higher. The intensity is higher. So the depth moves. I mean, I think, again, if you're going to get a top-line player, you're going to have to give up a lot, right? So that's like if you're looking for a third-line right winger, that's going to be, you say to yourself, okay, what do we mortgage the future? Or do we take another piece out of this lineup that's important to us to get that third line or that first line right winger? So I would rather say I'd rather go with some depth, something that doesn't cost me a whole lot. So maybe a veteran character guy that's on the last year of his deal that wants to prove himself. Those kind of guys. So let me see here. I don't think you were on today. I didn't. Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Jack. I was doing a Full Change podcast with the great Jigs McDonald from the New York Islanders. Fantastic person. Great. That voice. It's like Sam Rosen, Kenny Albert. Good morning, Tom. Jack, good to see you, brother. But yeah, Jigs McDonald was on. Man, he starts telling the old stories and everything like that. And what a good, just the same as Sam Rosen and Kenny Albert, just great people too, like that. Really, really humble. I was I was all excited. Tom Smith, the producer, told me he got him on the show, and apparently he contacted him on Facebook, and Jigs got right back to him right away, and I was all fired up because he's just that, yeah. Fun guy. Have a great day, Tom. My train is getting ready to go. Okay, well, thank you, sir. Have a great day. Be safe out there. I have the Roscoe Mountain Club. We've got all our brochures and all that out there. We got to spend more time selling it. Just to, we've been told that primarily, not limited to, but real estate companies that do a lot of sales would be good people to go after. So I'm going to get more of that case here. Like, Greenwich has got, the money here for real estate and the money they make. So they've got lots of budget for that. So disappointed Connor David beat the Blues in overtime. You're from St. Louis, I'm assuming, Stephanie. Well, Connor David's going to beat a lot of people. What an interesting season they've had. They were terrible at the start of the year, the Oilers, and now they're not unbeatable. But I guess the question is still going to be with them in the playoffs. How good's their goaltending, right? Jigs goes back to the Kings and the Flames. Yep. Years ago, I located Jigs and Boomer and the Boomer way before his Islander days in Eddie Westfall. I located Jigs and the Boomer and Boomer Esiason. But yeah, I've forgotten that Jigs got to start with the Kings too when they first started the franchise. I tell you, it's interesting. Listen to those guys, how they got their start. Like, there's no formal training for him then. He was doing, he was a disc jockey. Disc jockey? Yeah. And doing all kinds of stuff. And just, he said he never was a good athlete. He just always wanted to be a broadcaster. Worked up in Peterborough for a while, Aurelia, all these different places up in Canada, and then finally got the opportunity to go to the Kings. Great stories. Like, you think going back, like, it was the owner of the team. Is Jack Kent Cook? Is that who it was that owned the team? But they wouldn't pay for him to travel from his home in Ontario to California. They wouldn't pay for the travel. I guess he could give a plane ticket for him and his wife, and then they had to figure it out from there to get all the stuff there and everything. So, and he said that the house that he bought was like $40,000 house, and then he just recently looked it up, and I think it was listed for $1.4 million. So, big difference, yeah. What do you got here? There's a video of Jigs doing Atlantic games. Atlanta had a big team. Yes, so they had a big, huge team. Kenny Houston. Yeah. Other than that team moved to Calgary, and it was old Calgary Corral. It wasn't the Saddle Dome that they've got now. The Calgary Corral, the boards were like cement, and they were like, you needed a ladder to get up over the boards. And they had these big guys in the team, and I was pretty big, but man, it was just it was fun for me. But it was like they really took advantage of it too. They had Jim Poplinski and Willie Plett and all these big guys. I think Willie Plett was there at the time. That was a tough building to play in Calgary. The Calgary Corral. That's where we famously had our Canadian Olympic tryouts that I didn't last too long. Smart move, Tom. Smart move. Oh, man. What's up? So again, this past weekend was fantastic. It was just it was one of those events. Again, it was a ASHA, American Special Hockey Association, for all kids, not just kids too. Some adults. They list them all like A category based on their skill, A, B's, and C's, and they want them to all play like it'd be A's and B's and C's on each team. But the coaches are really good about making sure the A's are out there against the A's, and the B's are out there against the B's, so it's fair for everybody. And there's the adults there as well. But fantastic people. The parents are great. They just love their kids. It's more like they're a gift. Like the personalities are so. It's like there's no games. If they love you, they're going to tell you they love you. If they've got no interest in you, don't be mean. Like I told the story already, but this one young guy was running the scoreboard. He's on one of the teams, and he's running back and forth. He's pretending he's coaching. He's laughing and having fun. And I asked him, I said, do you want hot chocolate? So I went up and got him a hot chocolate, and he was really appreciative. Thank you very much. And I went to say goodbye to him when I was leaving, and he says, okay, but you can give me another hot chocolate before you go. It's like he said, it's so nice and so funny. It's like, yeah, I guess I'm getting you another hot chocolate. There I go. He was very cool. So all that kind of stuff. Again, there's no hidden agendas with them. What they tell you is the truth, and that's it. So great event to go to. Great job by Jen O'Brien and the Pierce family up there, Larry Pierce and his family. They donate everything. They have the full-size ice rink there with the chillers and the whole bit, the Zamboni. They built this beautiful, he's called a cabin, like changing room cabin kind of thing. All refurbished products from buildings they tore down. So Bernie Boom Boom Jeffrey Jigs. Boom Boom. Okay. Did the games in Atlanta. Boom Boom Jeffrey. Do we know why he has the nickname Boom Boom? I think we do. Hockey fans, well, I won't say it yet. He's one of the first to do this, I believe. I read Stan Fischer's living in Israel and he's planning on leaving. Hope he makes it. Yes, I did. I forgot that. He's been there for a while. Yeah. Yeah. There's another legend too, Stan Fischer, Jigs McDonald, Sam Rosen, Kenny Albert. Man, there's like the distinctive voice too, right? Like getting Jigs on today and taping the show or recording the show. Just listen, I just want to close my eyes and listen to his voice. It's like so many great memories. And I guess part of it is to him, but it's also like the great teams he was working with too. So the Islanders. Jeff Ryan, coach the Rangers, 68, 69, referred to himself in the third person like the Boomer is not happy instead of. I didn't know that. That's funny. Yes, Jack, you are correct. I think he had one of the, was it the first guy to use a slap shot? Or maybe he just had a big shot. Maybe it wasn't the first, but Bernie Boom Boom Jeffrey on. Back in 1972, Flames fans applauded icing. Yes, they didn't know. My good buddy, an old roommate, ran the team there when they were the Atlanta Thrashers. The whole time they were there, Don Waddell. And that was tough. It just wasn't it. Apparently, Atlanta's just not a good sports town for some reason. And they certainly weren't hockey fans. But yes, sir, Barry Shelley, you are correct there. By his hard shot, yes. Bernie Boom Boom. I don't know, what do they call me? Bomb? Bombed it when I'll never forget. One time I shot the puck. I was in Madison Square Garden, stepped over the red line. I don't know what happened. It's like all of a sudden I knew how to take a slap shot. I can never do it again, but it was just a rocket. We were coming back to the bench. One of the coaches, I think it was Wayne Thomas or something. He was laughing. I said, "Where did you do that?" But I couldn't replicate that. That was the one-time thing. And yeah, my shot was be hard breaking a pane of glass with my shot. It wasn't too. It was efficient. I call it efficient. If that's the case, I shouldn't. Give you the name Boom Boom. Yeah, Bomb. Yeah, Poop. Yeah, there you go, Barry. Yes, Poop. Give me the name Poop. Had some good. Really had some good sushi there too. Checked into the Residence Inn by Marriott in Vestal, New York, and ordered Uber Eats. Got some nice sushi from the Sushi Crispy, I think it was called. Had some California roll, spicy tuna. I had some different sushi I'd never seen before. It's like a wrap. It was like a really thin wrap. I've never seen that. It's usually just the rice. But Jack Smith, I correspond with Sam Fischer and his son Simon in Israel. Jack is Jack Lache, the former Whaler writer who died from cancer, hooked up with Stan. Oh, wow, very cool. Stan is sure. That's right. I've heard him talk about Shirley, his wife. Yes, Shirley. Shirley. The great Stan Fischer. We're buddies too. He ripped me one time. I got traded. That's what it was. And we had some complications. So I couldn't go right away like the next day. Usually when you get traded, you leave right away. You get out there right away. Family takes care of everything. But I didn't. There's some reason I didn't. And he ripped into me. Like we've been buddies too. But I think that's it. Him and Larry Brooks the same way. You know, they don't care who you are, friends or not. If they think you've done something wrong, they're going to tell you that. And you have to admire that. It wasn't. They didn't pull punches with anybody. Let me see. Stan told me years ago Nick Fury was too nice a guy and should have been meaner and fought more. I don't know. Well, part of it is once he built his reputation, not too many people wanted to fight him. Like I remember I first came up, I was decently tough too, and Nicky was playing in Hartford. I was thinking, part of me wants to fight him. The other person, because he could fight, he could hurt you. Strong man. Let me see. You should have had our local famous Speedies. Speedies. Is that the restaurant? Speedies? Let's see, Speedies. Uber Eats. I haven't used that very much, but it's convenient. Especially we were that long day, got back to the hotel instead of going out again. The Residence Inn. Courtyard. Or Marriott. Sorry, Tom, but Stan told me, that I should have been meaner also. Far more. Well, yeah. Well, once Herbie got here, he didn't really want me fighting. So, part of it is you come in, you show you can fight, and then you got to make a decision. Like if you're going to be if you're going to be a fighter back then, I mean, it was Clark Gillies, Bob Nystrom, Ben Wilson, Paul Holmgren every night. Once you built that reputation, yeah, you had to do it. Again, we had this Graham Townsend on, and he kind of started as somewhat of a tough guy, or he was a tough guy. And then when he got to Houston, the IHL, he was talking about how he got in a battle with Terry Wiskowski, the coach, because Wiskowski wanted to keep fighting, and he didn't want to do the fighting anymore. So he's scoring goals. So, but the old saying is, if you come in as a crusher and you try to be a rusher, you'll soon be an usher. No, made with chicken and veggies. Oh, okay. Speedies, famous Speedies, chicken and veggies. That sounds good. I had sushi a long time. I haven't made my sushi. I have my big debate now is by the time you go and buy the sushi, it's expensive to buy the sushi at H Mart, and then go through the process of making it. It's not like it's not that bad to make it. I wonder though, is it anything less expensive to make it on your own than just go buy it? I guess it depends where you're buying it, obviously. But it's good either way. Oh, sushi. Oh my God. That tuna sushi. Put the little hot sauce in there. Oh, California roll. Stan felt you were a tough man, could handle the Dukes. Yeah, it was okay. I've told the story a lot. I seriously, I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I really, coming out of college, I thought I was the toughest man on the planet. I really did. Not just, I really thought I could just beat anybody. Then you get to the NHL. And back then, I'll tell you, oh, man. You look at a guy like Clark Gillies. I keep talking what a great guy he is, but man, you played against him. Yeah, he was a mean dude. Yes, you know what? Neither one of us could remember that fight either. It mustn't have been much of a fight. So there, like Tom like going at it. Yes, it's funny thinking back. That first year in my league, in the league in the NHL, I got 6 goals, 23 assists. Was fighting. I'm thinking I'm going to be this great two-way defenseman. Herb Brooks comes in says, "Nope, get the puck, Tom. Give it to somebody else. You're not supposed to have it." Goodness, thank you, Herb. I see. We were doing the show today, recording with Jigs McDonald. He was talking about Jigs. Talking about Herb Brooks. He worked with Herb national games, and. He was telling a story like Herb would just always be talking about hockey, writing plays on napkins, and tablecloths, and all that stuff. Yeah. Yes. There's a funny actor. Oh, he did a show like he's one of those guys that outtakes, like he's really funny. And it was some show, some girl was sitting beside him, and he was talking to some other guy, and he starts talking about how when I wipe my butt, I just keep wiping, and it keeps me in poop on my toilet paper. It's like I have a marker there. It's just wiping, and obviously he's supposed to be saying something else. This girl's sitting beside him. She was trying not to laugh, and it was hilarious. And the guy in front of him was trying to be really serious. Like oh God, he's an actor, good-looking guy. Oh God, I can't remember what his name is. Barry Beck was more offensive defensive. Well, he was pretty good here too. I'll tell you. Well, actually, his old videos. I forget how good Barry is, or Barry was, and still is. But I mean, he could do it all. That was kind of it's almost. I wonder how much pressure is on Barry, because again, he really could do it all: power play, penalty killing, hit, fight, score, big shot, good passer, lead. I mean, like again, watching these old videos, I really had forgotten how much of an impact player he was. I mean, we talk about Potvin and these kind of guys, but Barry was right there, and he just was unfortunately, he got the shoulder injury and that kind of stuff. I think if he had a longer career, like a 15-year career, he was a Hall of Fame type player. I don't think he played long enough. But again, I can't imagine the pressure too, because remember, they'd gone to the finals in '79. Then the next year they traded. I thought it was 5 guys. I think it was 2 guys in the minors, but three NHL players to get them. So a lot of pressure on him. Dave Maloney had been the captain. I can't remember how that Barry ultimately became captain, because Dave Maloney had been the captain. I can't remember what that process was, but Speedies originated in Binghamton, New York, and our mainstay in the city and surrounding regions. Speedies are cubes of marinated grilled meat, usually served as a sandwich, similar to. Oh wow, I did not know that, Barry Shelley, you informative young man, you. I see you were the Bart Crashley the other day. One of those guys wasn't quite an NHL quality, but solid in the WHA. Great name, Bart Crashley. Oh, that's right. Yes, thank you. Oh, that's right. Didn't Mark Puttenvink name himself Bart Crashley? Right? Is that what it is? Yeah. Uh, as the trade deadline approaches, does the feeling in the locker room change? Yeah, it really kind of depends on how the season's going, Susan. That's a great question. Um, like if you aren't playing well, like you go back to Phil Esposito, and we weren't really playing that well. I mean, people are on pins and needles because you don't want to get traded. You want unless your things have just not gone well for you, then you do want to get traded. But especially a great franchise like the Rangers playing in New York, it's one of those places when you really don't want to leave because you're treated so well. The fan base playing at Madison Square Garden. So, but it can get a team right now with the Rangers. I would think most guys in the locker room would not be concerned about getting traded. I think if they were to do some trades, it's maybe more draft picks, minor league prospects, something like that. So the bulk of the guys in the locker room probably aren't really worried about it too much. Although, and a lot of guys got no move contracts, so they can't get moved. The team could come to them and say, "Listen, we're thinking of moving you. Do you want to do that?" And they say no if they want. So, but I would say again, this team the way it is, most guys wouldn't be really too concerned about it because you don't see a team that's as good as the Rangers making a big blockbuster trade, like really shaking up the lineup. You wouldn't want to do that, right? This team just needs some fixes around the edges. So again, I don't think most guys are upset about it. My dad and I were at Bubba's first game, Rangers Garden. He scored the winning goal against the Kings, crashing into the net. Were you with my buddy? And my old man was. We were with my buddy, and my old man was bombed. Oh, that's funny. Gotta live life, right? Gotta live life. What sucks for Drury is that he will face criticism. Well, listen, yeah, or if he does nothing. Well, listen, if they don't do something or do something and then don't win, like especially if we get beat out in the first round, yeah, GM's get to take criticism. But I gotta tell you, like there's part of me. I mean, you've got to look around, right? And some teams now are doing the trades earlier than the trade deadline. They're doing it early, so get the player in, acclimated to the team, get everybody acclimated to the new player. But yeah, you don't win. Everybody's going to take criticism, right? The coaches, what's his name? Gallant was a great coach 2 years ago when they went to semifinals, and all of a sudden last year get beaten in the first round, he gets fired. That's the nature of pro sports, and Drury's the same way. He's done a fantastic job. The players have to go play. I look at the goaltending situation. Shesterkin, if he can play the way he should be playing all the time, arguably the best goaltender in the league. And then he gets Quick as a backup. And again, we talked about this. Luc Robitaille in our podcast said that that's the best leader he's seen in the game, and Jonathan Quick. So that's important to have that kind of player, especially at that position, because he's not playing all the time. But he's big in the locker room, helping Shesterkin. Knows he's had a great career already for himself, won his cups. So again, he wants to play again. Like any player, you don't want a guy that doesn't want to play, but he knows if he's not going to play, he can still play a big role. So, but yeah, Drury will face criticism, no question. And it's not whether it's fair or not. That's just nature of the beast, pro sports. Is it given that Kucherov and Kierman are front runners for the MVP? Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah. It's unfortunate because that's really, you don't get the award for playoff performance that the MVP is for the regular season. But maybe this is in my mind. For some reason, Panarin I look at differently because of the disappointing times he's had in the playoffs these last 2 years. But again, that's not how really the award is voted on. It's for the regular season. And he may have a great playoff this year, but again, it really doesn't matter. It's just, I guess I look at him that, okay, you're a good player, but you really didn't do it. But yeah, Kucherov and McKinnon, those guys, the points you're putting up. You can never forget about Connor McDavid too. There's some people still think that with the games left, he may get the most, should make most points in the league too. He's behind a little bit now. Let me see here. Jackie Smith, the Garden in the 70s was soda, beer, hot dogs, nothing like, yeah, no kidding. No sushi. Let me see here. I've been traded to, remember, and I use pooper scooper. That's fairly funny, Danny. Fairly funny. I wouldn't say it's overly funny, but it's fairly funny. Yeah. Pooper scooper. Oh God. New toilet. That toilet thing is really, I'm convinced about the whole toilet conspiracy thing. The shape of the toilet, designed purposely to sell brushes. So the poop lands on the side of the bowl, and then you got to brush it off. And it gets all moldy and everything. You got to go buy a new brush. Yep. Totally concerning. Because why would you do it that way? Just have it straight down, like in a square. All right. At least have it, fair, like at least just sloping in the middle at the bottom there, but have the big thing there. It's just, I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it. I'm on a mission to change that. Somebody did start laughing at my dad's beers went down to the floor. I thought he was going to punch. I had to come down. Reefer's Olive Garden, yeah. Oh, it's there now too, the Reefer. Oh man, you walk through Times Square now, man, you get stoned. Let me see here. The Rangers cheaped out when they had Valiquette backed up Lundqvist. Well, I don't know. Valiquette was a pretty good goaltender. I mean, he was a good. So part of being a good backup goaltender is the attitude, right? Because you got to accept. You want a guy that wants to be playing. So when he gets in there, he's confident in himself. He does well. But it's the accepting that backup role. It's not always easy to do, right? Because you get to be the NHL, you want to be a player. You don't want to sit on the bench. And that's the way it should be. But I can't totally. Yeah, I wouldn't say they cheaped out on him, but. I guess today reefers are everywhere like the 70s legal. Oh yeah, man. Seriously, you walk through downtown Manhattan now. I had a neighbor, and I thought there's a skunk. And does a skunk smell the same as a pot smell? Because I went to Home Depot and everything, got all these little pebbles. I didn't want to kill any of this stuff. Kept the skunks away, but wouldn't kill other animals, whatever. My sons came over and they got the guy next door is smoking pot. It's not a skunk. Oh, goodness. Must have been hard for Matt Duchene when he was traded while playing a game. He left after the game. He was a jerk, to be honest with you. I wasn't high on him. The way he acted, the things he said during the trade. Yeah, and like he made some comments after that too, like kind of condescending remarks. I think it was. It was a great Joe Sakic was GM at the time too, and he's a classy guy. And I just didn't. And it was after Duchene had made those comments. He was in an Uber or something like that, and the Uber guy recorded it, being critical of some coach or something like that, like laughing about him like a little kid. So I always thought like he was a super talented guy that just didn't get the best out of his game. So I wasn't a fan. Yeah. So, Pat passed. No, Fab didn't pass. Oh, Pat, man. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. You lose somebody and you tend to think back more about him, the memories and everything like that. And he was a great teammate, good guy. He was his own person. I'll tell you what, probably more than any other. No, I shouldn't say that more than that, but it was one of those guys that he was his own man. He was going to live his life that he wanted to live, and that was it. Even leaving the NHL when he did, he just didn't want to play anymore. He didn't have to retire. He just wasn't going to put up with the crap. So, Valiquette was an excellent backup of the team, and also, yeah, that's the way I kind of viewed him. I really can't remember playing that much. I do. We had an alumni game against the Bruins up in Boston that he played in, and it was back-to-back. And they were coming down here after, and he stood on his head in the alumni game. Unbelievable. We had Darius Kasparaitis and I were playing defense together, and Ray Bourque, it's in Boston, right? So Ray Bourque's coming down on the two of us. So we stepped out of the way. It's Ray Bourque, right? I don't think he scored a goal or whatever. So figuring he's going to go in and score, and the crowd's going to like it. And I get stoned him. He was just he's on such a roll. I don't think he realized what he was doing. It was just like he got into this mode where he's playing an NHL game, and he stopped. And we went back. It's Ray Bourque. Oh, it's funny. I totally understood it because he was in his zone. He was fired up. So, Tom, my sister around 10, and my parents and I went to see the Rangers after the game, 10th Avenue with his mom. My mom was, why is traffic? My old man looked at me and smiled. Hookers around. Oh God, yeah. We were driving in. We used to go into the games. You go down the west side and cut across on 34th, I think it was. Yeah, it's in the middle of the afternoon. It's all hookers and everything. But it's funny because when it first happens, you're like, "What is this?" Then after a while, you're just so used to it. So, yeah. Valley was a small notch above a minor leaguer. Man, you are critical on him today, Danny. Wow. But I tell you what, especially with a backup goaltender, the difference between a minor leaguer and a backup goaltender sometimes isn't that big of a difference. So. But geez, Danny, go easy on him. He's a nice guy. He's a friend of mine. Good hair, too. He's got the good hair. Him and Henrik Lundqvist on together, that's a good hair show. That's if I showed up. My hairdo. All right, everybody. Again, sorry we were late for the show. Again, we did a Full Change podcast. We recorded that with the great Jigs McDonald. Please, you can listen to that on any podcast platforms. Please like, share, and comment, particularly on Apple. For us, that's the best. See, were you surprised when he left hockey after the Olympics? Well, he got into broadcast. You think he should have been a player? I was asking Barry. I don't think he was at the level. I don't think he had opportunities to be an NHL player. But he got into broadcasting, and then he was coaching for a long time too. So kind of stayed in the game in some ways, maybe not playing. But yeah, you're sure you're talking about playing. Yeah. Again, I just didn't see him as, and that's a criticism. I think he knew this himself. I didn't see him as really an NHL player. Again, it's fantastic for the Olympic team, played a big role as a leader and everything like that. But I just didn't think it kind of translated into, being a full-time NHL player. Same thing with Jim Craig, right? He played a little bit, but didn't play that long. But if you looked at him that last game, especially against the Russians, wasn't the last game, but the game against the Russians, man, he looked like the best goalie in the world in that game. So. Let me see here. Did Avery say what I said about Valley? Did Avery say what I said about Valley? Huh. I don't know. Sean Avery? I don't know. I don't know that. Let's see here. I was wondering if he was in it. Yeah. He just. I know it sounds kind of weird to say. He just he wasn't. To do it all the time, again, you can see that it was like that compacted, small period of time that he did it. But let me see. Nicky punched up Timmy Hunter, and he was babbling instead of watching the game. He goes, a fight. Wonder how it started. Oh, but you guys are vicious today. Jack's going after Eruzione. Danny's going after Valley Cat. Man, vicious. Glad I'm perfect. Pick on me. All right, guys, we're rolling here. Again, I apologize for being late. We've been doing much better at staying on time and staying regular with that schedule. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. We will see you next week. Again, let's make sure we stay on top of the whole 988 hotline for people, helping other people. We got our shoulder check mission. Make sure you're reaching out to people, make sure they're okay. And make sure you're taking care of yourself too. Like my old saying is, like the flight attendant says on the plane, you've got to put your own mask on first before you can help other people. So you got to make sure you take care of yourself and help other people well. Okay. Everybody have a fantastic weekend.